Welcome to TransAction TV. My name is Anthony Attanasio, and I'm the CEO of Hawk Strategies. Our guest on this episode of TransAction TV is my good friend, Assemblyman Mike Inganamort of New Jersey's 24th District. Mike, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Anthony. Glad to be here.
Great to have you. So this is your first transaction conference.
It is.
Welcome to what we call the Transportation Family Gathering of the Year in Atlantic City.
Slash Super Bowl.
It all happens here.
Exactly. I am excited. This is my first stop, so I am excited to see what's next.
Well, we're glad to have you here. So tell us a little bit, Mike, you represent the 24th District, which is parts of Morris, Warren, and all of Sussex County. So tell us a little bit about the district.
It is a big, beautiful district. It has been my home for almost my entire life, and it is such an honor and a privilege to represent my home, where I grew up and where I live today, and I'm raising my family. The 24th Legislative District is the only New Jersey district that touches two states, New York and Pennsylvania. We go that far up. We go right to the point at the top of New Jersey, which of course is at the top of Sussex County. The district, as you said, includes all of Sussex County. It includes the western third of Morris County and two towns in Warren County, Alamucci and Independence. It's made up of 32 small towns, and those 32 small towns are basically my guiding light in Trenton, doing everything I can to make sure those 32 towns have a strong voice in Trenton and a responsive state government.
That's great. They're lucky to have you. And I'm biased. I proposed to my fiance at High Point. So
Nice.
I'm a big fan of the 24th District.
That's great.
So prior, you mentioned that it's your home district. Prior to being a state assemblyman, I worked with you in your previous role where you were a councilman and a mayor. Tell us a little bit about the perspective that you got as a local elected official and how that's helping shape your perspective and what you do in Trenton.
Well, I think the perspective I bring as a local official, or at least the experiences I've lived as a local official, have been invaluable to me down in Trenton. Because what I learned as a council member and as a mayor is that the state of New Jersey, I'm going to be blunt here, Anthony, has a punishing attitude when it comes to small towns and the property taxpayers who foot the bill. And that was my entire rationale for running for the state legislature, was to ensure the town where I was living and serving as mayor, Chester Township, and the other 31 towns in this particular legislative district had not only a responsive state government, but state agencies that listened to the needs and wants of municipalities and respected us. I find that the state of New Jersey not only micromanages the decisions that happen at the local level, but actually micromandates them. Yeah. I'm starting to use that phrase. There's a lot of micromandating going on. Many of the state agencies, I'm thinking about DEP today because we're trying to navigate some issues there of late, where these mandates are coming from state government onto small towns, and it makes it real tough on local governments to retain not only their autonomy, but their ability to make smart, long-term decisions.
Wow. I mean, that's impactful to hear because we all do feel those, the regulatory, at times it feels like we're being strangled.
Absolutely.
Especially for someone who represents folks, I represent folks in the infrastructure industry, designers, contractors, and whatnot. And when when the DEP treats the DOT like a for-profit developer, something's not working right there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Listen, it's not easy being a contractor in New Jersey. It's not easy being a taxpayer in the state of New Jersey. And so we bring all these perspectives with us, and what we're talking about here in this particular line of questioning is the perspective of a small town.
Right.
And ensuring that small town is able to navigate just this web of bureaucracy and the crush of state mandates that are coming down on them. And we're fighting back on that every single day.
That's fantastic. I mean, and transitioning a little to transportation now, and sticking though with that local experience, as a councilman and mayor, you were very forward thinking in your town in supporting and implementing a pavement preservation program in your town. Tell us a little bit about that, the extending of the life of your infrastructure for a fraction of the price and what led you to that.
Absolutely. I think that on the transportation front, Anthony, I'm going to answer your question one of two ways, which is there were two real learnings I took from the experience in local government with respect to transportation. The first is the critical importance of the Transportation Trust Fund, because it enabled small towns of really any size in the state of New Jersey, to preserve or improve those roads in their community that they could not take care of on their own. Right? Chester Township had a budget of $14 million. That doesn't go very far when you're improving roads, and there were many miles of roads within Chester Township. So I understood the importance of the Transportation Trust Fund when used correctly and properly and in a fiscally conservative way, how it can be used to improve bigger roads than a municipality could otherwise take on their own. So Anthony, to your second question, when it comes to preservation of roads, it's a heck of a lot more cost efficient and just smarter in the long term to preserve the pavement that you have on the ground than it is to rip that up and redo it every number of years. Listen, it makes common sense. I needed to see it for myself, and I appreciate you guiding me through that process, and also the members of our Department of Public Works. These guys are on the roads every single day. They're not only improving them, paving them, plowing them in the winter, they know what it takes to preserve a good quality road in a municipality and statewide. And so I understand the philosophy, and I agree with and support the philosophy. We should improve what we have instead of letting it go too far and having to replace it entirely. Far more expensive, far less efficient.
No, and you've been a leader on that subject, and so much so that we enjoyed a night out under the spotlights of a construction project last year.
That's right.
That happened to be a state DOT project, but that's one of the things I appreciate about you as an elected official is you like to see it to believe it. You actually go out and do the research, and that's why you're such a great advocate. So,
well, I appreciate it. Listen, when you represent 32 towns, you spend a lot of time on the road.
Yeah.
And so we're taking a look at the quality of these roads, whether they are state highways in our district. 206 is splitting my district right down in half from the north to the south, to our county roads, municipal roads. We care about them all.
No, you're doing a great job. And, you know, that leads me to my next transportation question for you is because once you got to Trenton, I remember a phone call from you where you were like, I am going to work to get on the transportation committee because you understood it was a place where you could make a difference. So tell us a little bit about your experience on the committee and some of the goals you have.
Well, it is a privilege to serve on the Transportation Committee. It's one of the larger committees down there in Trenton. We meet in the big committee room, right? And we usually get a lot of interesting issues that come through the committee. And what's nice about the Transportation Committee is that the membership of majority party members, the Democratic members, and the Republican members in the minority, we work together. We understand there are not Republican or Democratic potholes, right? Republicans and Democrats ride our New Jersey Transit trains. They drive on our parkway and our turnpike and so forth. And so there's a real ability to set aside the partisan nonsense and focus on the solutions in front of us. Plenty of disagreement.
Yeah.
Plenty of disagreement. The chairman knows that. The majority knows that. I'm not afraid to speak up when I think we're going in the wrong direction. Perhaps increasing taxes on our drivers or just property taxpayers overall. Speak up when those issues come before us. But by and large, we work together and try to find solutions to make our entire transportation network work together. We're talking a lot about roads in this conversation. It's our airports. It is our train system, freight and passenger rail.
Yeah.
Very multimodal.
Yeah.
We are a transportation state,
Yes.
are we not? We got it all here.
Yes.
We got the port. We got two major international cities on both ends. So transportation matters to New Jersey. That's why I wanted to be on the Transportation Committee.
That's fantastic. And, you know, the last question is will be a little bit more of a conversation because we just spent a year and a half working together on a very critical subject. And, you know, for our viewers, the Assemblyman was one of the lead voices in a major paratransit law that was passed last year that will now allow TNCs to supplement paratransit service because, as we all know, New Jersey Transit does an incredible job of trying to run their agency with the resources that they have. However, when it comes to paratransit and Access Link, our disabled and disadvantaged communities were truly underserved. And there was an opportunity to improve that service. And God bless New Jersey and all of the logistical hurdles, statutory hurdles, political hurdles. It should have been a little easier than it was. But one, I want to thank you for your work as a co-prime sponsor of the law, what is now a law. But tell us a little bit about your perspective of being part of a bipartisan initiative to just pass good policy.
Yeah, here. It's a great example of people coming together in a bipartisan way. This passed through the legislature unanimously at the committee level, in the full assembly, in the full Senate. So this made some sense, this policy reform. And really, Anthony, I need to thank you. You've been at this issue longer than I have, and I appreciate you bringing me into the conversation here. I enjoyed working with the other co-prime sponsors, Assemblyman Clinton Calabrese, chairman of the Transportation Committee, Assemblyman Rob Karabinchak, another smart, hardworking guy in the legislature. And there are a number of things that this bill had going for it, but two in particular that I like the most. The first is we greatly expanded access to transportation to people who particularly need it, with an acute need in New Jersey. And as you just said, they were underserved. These are under-resourced folks in a lot of cases. They needed this access to safe, clean, and reliable transportation. This bill does that. The other part that I liked, as a legislator from the northwest corner of this state, we expanded the map. We not only expanded access to more New Jerseyans, those with acute need, but we expanded it to other towns and counties. this service, the Access Link service, was not available in most parts of Sussex County, Warren County,
Correct.
even parts of Morris County. By partnering with other industries, whether it's your Ubers, your Lyfts, your limo service, for Pete's sake, whatever it is, and new companies coming down the line, this is an opportunity to serve more of the Garden State.
Yeah.
And I feel that, listen, the taxpayers in Sussex, Morris, and Warren County, and the businesses in Sussex, Morris, and Warren County who are paying for our transportation infrastructure deserve to enjoy the benefits of that transportation infrastructure, and this is a good way of doing it. We've expanded the map.
No, that's fantastic. And yeah, so some of the providers like Userve and others who now, for the first time ever, what we're finding is the folks in our disabled and disadvantaged communities who used to have to wait for their spot on an Access Link bus, which is a loop, which means you're on the whole ride, which means if someone's late, you're late, and it cascaded down. And think about the quality of life, right?
Absolutely.
So now for folks in your district, anywhere in the state for that matter, to have door-to-door service for your doctors, for your hospital, for your groceries, I just wanted to say thank you again, because this is truly the type of policy that impacts people's lives in a way that's tangible and you can see it. So thank you for your leadership.
Well, listen, like I said before, I'm going to thank you for bringing me into the conversation. This was a good, productive conversation on this bill. It's a game changer for those people that you just described. Door-to-door service for people who really need it in my district, in the far reaches of my district. They are not used to that sort of thing. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. And not only that, Anthony, excited to see what next bipartisan reform we're able to bring people together around.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to working with you. As I know are our viewers, it's always nice to have young, energetic, passionate, transportation-focused legislators. We don't get a lot of that. So, Assemblyman Mike Inganamort, we want to thank you again for your time, for your leadership, and to all our viewers at home, we'll be seeing you next time on TransAction TV. Thank you so much.